What if your blood knows more about you than your mind is capable of understanding? Have you ever wondered what lies beneath the seemingly simple words, first, second, third, or fourth blood type? Perhaps it's not just a medical classification. Maybe behind these numbers lies something more deep psychological or even spiritual aspects of your personality. Carl Jung claimed that the unconscious speaks to us in the language of symbols, subtle, multi-layered, often hidden within the most ordinary expressions of life. If that's true, could your blood type be one of those symbols, a barely perceptible yet powerful sign of your archetypal nature? In this video, we will embark on an exploration of the possible connections between ancient biological codes and the timeless insights of Jungian psychology. Perhaps within every drop of your blood lies a map, a guide to a deeper understanding of yourself and your destiny. Your blood type is not just a dry label in a medical file. It may be a reflection of your inner structure, your psychological landscape, and even your spiritual purpose. Before we dive deeper into the topic, it's worth asking one important question. Why blood? Why has it, throughout centuries and across cultures, been endowed with such deep, almost mythical meaning? Blood is not just a biological substance. It is a story woven into the very fabric of our existence. It is the tale of who you are, where your essence originates, and what truly drives your actions beyond conscious decision. Carl Jung, who dedicated his life to exploring the connection between the visible and the hidden, likely viewed blood as one of the most powerful symbols embodied in the body. Its continuous flow reflects the deep psychological processes, the same currents that move through the depths of your unconscious. And it is precisely here that a remarkable bridge opens between ancient symbols and modern psychological knowledge, a space where Eastern and Western philosophies converge at an unexpected yet harmonious point of contact. Long before Carl Jung's ideas entered the mainstream of Western psychology, a different, no less intriguing perspective on blood was already forming in Japan. According to the theory of ketsueki-gata, blood type influences not only a person's health, but also their character, behavior, tendencies, and possibly even their destiny. At first glance, this might seem like a part of cultural folklore, something rooted in folk belief. However, when viewed through the Jungian lens, this seemingly simple notion begins to reveal something much deeper. Here, we witness a rare phenomenon. Two traditions, Eastern and Western, speaking the same symbolic language, yet from different perspectives. Jung's archetypal system and the Japanese blood type typology unexpectedly mirror each other, like two facing mirrors, reflecting the same truth from opposite directions. We're speaking of psychological resonance of recurring patterns that appear across space and time because they are embedded in the very structure of our inner nature. And when you begin to recognize these patterns, they cease to be mere symbols. They become doorways, gateways to a deeper understanding of yourself. All of this leads us to the very heart of Jungian psychology, to the inner journey that Carl Jung called individuation. This is not just a concept, but a deeply personal, almost sacred journey toward wholeness. It is not about striving to become someone else, but rather about returning to your true nature, about becoming fully yourself. It is a process of integrating the conscious I with the deep, often unexplored layers of the unconscious. It is a path on which we discover not only our dominant archetypal energies, but also come face to face with our own shadow, those aspects of the personality we usually reject, yet which are an essential part of our wholeness. If we regard blood type not as a biological constant, but as a symbolic imprint, it can serve as a kind of inner compass, not in the sense of imposing a fixed identity, but rather as a subtle indication, the direction in which your psyche is inclined to move, the life lessons that come naturally. and the areas where the path requires conscious effort and transformation. From this perspective, we invite you to view each blood type not merely as a biological trait, but as a psychological symbol, one that reveals new facets of self-understanding. Blood type A, the archetype of the architect of order. People with blood type A are generally marked by an innate drive towards structure, clarity, and control. In the symbolic language of Jungian psychology, they embody the archetype of the sage or the architect of order, those who seek meaning through form, stability through discipline, and harmony through internal organization. Their inner world is structured like a carefully designed system. It is filled with logic, subtle interconnections, and guiding principles to which they remain faithful. These are individuals who think strategically, preferring thoughtful analysis over immediate reaction. They feel at home in the realm of ideas and systems. They have the ability to bring order to chaos, to see the whole where others see only fragments. It is often they who become the quiet yet dependable center of a family, a team, a creative or business endeavor. Their strength does not lie in loud gestures, but in calm consistency, in the ability to maintain balance and provide direction. However, every luminous archetype also casts a shadow. For those with blood type A, the danger lies in excessive control. Perfectionism pushed to the extreme can become an internal prison. The pursuit of order can turn into a fear of chaos, and discipline can harden into emotional numbness. Jung teaches that the path to wholeness requires the integration of opposites. For these individuals, this means consciously learning to let go of control, to trust the flow of life, and to embrace its unpredictability not as a threat, but as part of a greater order beyond the human mind. Blood type B, the archetype of the explorer. While those with blood type A find support in order and predictability, individuals with blood type B thrive in the realm of freedom and spontaneity. Their inner compass is attuned not to structure, but to movement. In the symbolic language of archetypes, they embody the seeker one who searches for meaning not in stability, but in experience, not in the known, but in the unknown. They are often perceived as creative, freedom-loving, and slightly unpredictable. These are souls driven by a desire for self-expression and intuitive engagement with life. They bring with them a fresh energy, revitalizing the environments they enter, like a breath of wind, capable of clearing away stagnation. However, their flexibility is not chaos. It is a finely tuned intuition, a sensitive attunement to an inner rhythm that often eludes logical analysis. It is precisely this connection to the unconscious that Carl Jung considered the true expression of the living soul through authentic creativity, emotional honesty, and a willingness to venture into the unknown. But freedom also casts its shadow. For those with blood type B, the challenge lies in inconsistency, difficulty with attachment, and avoidance of structure. Their task is not to lose depth in constant motion, not to scatter their strength across too many directions. The path to wholeness for these individuals lies in learning to remain with the body, with attention, with the soul. Where there is groundedness, true depth can blossom. And only by learning to be fully present, not just fleetingly, but consciously, do they find their point of inner anchoring. Blood type AB. The archetype of the alchemist. Now we approach the rarest and perhaps the most paradoxical blood type, AB. These individuals seem to carry within them two poles: discipline and intuition, rationality and emotionality. They unite the opposites of types A and B, not merely alternating between them, but creating a new whole. From the perspective of Jungian symbolism, this is the archetype of the alchemist, or mediator, a being who lives in constant tension between dualities. Jung would undoubtedly have seen in them the potential for great inner reconciliation. They do not reject contradiction. They strive to hold it, to transform it, to transmute it. Their greatest gift is perspective. They are able to perceive multiple layers of meaning at once to see what escapes others. These are the people who naturally become bridges between worlds. Logic and intuition, reason and emotion, structure and chaos. They bring depth and nuance to conversations that seem black and white to others. However, their path is not without challenges. Such inner complexity can lead to indecision, blurred identity boundaries, and exhaustion from emotional and mental overload. Their shadow is the danger of becoming lost in their own multitude of voices, of losing inner cohesion by trying to please every side within themselves. Jung would say that the task for those with blood type AB is to find an inner center of gravity, a rootedness in the true self, capable of withstanding the tension of opposites, not by collapsing, but by integrating into a higher order. Blood type O, the archetype of the hero. Blood type O is the origin, the primal foundation. From an evolutionary perspective, it is considered the oldest. Perhaps that is why it carries something primordial, pure strength, instinct, survival energy. It holds the archetypal memory of times when action mattered more than thought, and movement was a matter of life and death. In Carl Jung's symbolism, people with this blood type embody the archetype of the hero or warrior, a figure standing at the boundary between chaos and order, protecting, awakening, strength, leading forward. These are individuals endowed with an innate sense of purpose and clarity of intention. Their actions are straightforward, their energy palpable, their presence captivating. In Jungian terms, such decisiveness and direction indicate a strong sensoromotor logical axis, a psyche that interacts directly with reality and strives to shape it through will and deed. It is the energy of realization, embodiment, and overcoming. But even the hero archetype carries a shadow. Where there is great power, there is a risk of rigidity. Where confidence exists, aggression can arise. Where there is a drive for victory, there is the temptation to overlook another's pain. The hero can become a dictator if they do not open to the softer, more sensitive facets of their soul. The path of individuation for those with blood type O lies in integrating strength with compassion, drive with self-reflection, victory with vulnerability. The true hero is not only one who conquers external challenges, but also one who can face their own shadow, not rejecting it, but transforming it into a source of wisdom. And so we return to the original question, what is your blood really telling you? Your blood type is not just a medical fact, not a faceless code in a test. It is a symbol, a living thread woven into the fabric of your individuality, into the hidden layers of who you are. It does not dictate who you must be, but it can hint at the direction in which to seek yourself. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious speaks to us through images and symbols, and the goal of human life is not to achieve an ideal, but to integrate, to gather yourself into a whole, to accept all your facets, and become complete. Your blood may be whispering your tendencies, pointing to inner currents, but it is your awareness, your willingness to look within and listen to yourself that will determine the true vector of your path. If this reflection has awakened new thoughts in you, share them in the comments. What is your blood type? And did the described archetypes resonate with you? If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel.